only one that I look back, because it's like, my points are valid. Like the financial, like she's helping him financially and him lying to me about living there. Like my points are valid. And my delivery was just super, super off. And because my delivery was so off, like I lost, like it just kind of sucked, right? Because then here I am apologizing to him when he should be really trying to explain the situation to me. But I'll take ownership. I acted crazy. I acted really, really bad.
No, I'm.
So we've got Elise here. She's having an interview with Access Hollywood. And the first thing that I notice is that she's already taken the approach of being accountable, of reflecting, recognizing what she could have done better, but also understanding that even though she behaved the way she did, she still had every right to be annoyed with Josh, you know, and most importantly, to be more annoyed with Josh and less annoyed with Nat. Because the real problem was Josh, not Nat. Because Josh was the one that lied to her, didn't tell her the truth regarding of who he was staying with. And he's the one that pretty much put Nat in the firing line. If anything, anything that Elise did that Nat found offensive, really and truly, Nat should also be thinking, hold on a minute, Elise would have never treated me this way if, guess what? If Josh had just been honest with her from the very get-go. If she knew what she was walking into, if she knew that she was traveling all the way here to Australia, 39 hours, and she at least knew the truth. So I like that. But there's more to come though when it comes to this interview here by Elise, where she's obviously having it here. So let's move on to the next timestamp here, something particular that I have ready for you lovely folks. And I know you're here because you like being here, so it clearly means that you want to like the video. But let's continue.
Like 100%. But like, I don't want to leave Australia without meeting anyone in his life. You know, like I haven't met his son. I haven't met his family. You know, I don't even know where he lives because they're in a rental right now. So it's just like, there's so many things. Like I flew around the world and I don't feel like I'm getting let into his life. So I am a little bit weary. You know, my head's saying one thing, my heart's saying another. Yeah. But I definitely feel it.
Yeah. Now
It is kind of crazy though, isn't it, that she did obviously fly across the world and she was expecting something big to come of it. And what she was expecting to come over that was big was a healthy relationship. But unfortunately for her, obviously, you know, what she walked into was something that was rather unhealthy purely because Josh is somebody that doesn't know how to be honest. He's somebody that only knows how to pretty much play around his words. If anything, Josh is someone that speaks more like a politician, if you ask me. But here's the thing though, I did see a post, and I've lost it now, unfortunately, on Reddit, regarding the fact that she wanted to meet his family. Okay? People were saying, why in the hell should she meet his family when she has behaved the way she has behaved? Because the way she has behaved would be somebody that you wouldn't want to meet your children. Somebody you wouldn't want to introduce to the rest of your family. Okay? And it's a fair point. And to be fair, I was able to actually find that post right now as I was speaking. I just remember where it was. So as you can see here, someone said, this chick's delusional. I wouldn't let her anywhere near my son if I was him. What do you guys think of this? I haven't met his son and this is a huge part of his life I'm completely missing out on. So people obviously decided to come in with their own responses on the matter in particular. And as you can see, people have said, no way I would let her meet my child with how she acted during their first meeting. But of course, at the same time, people have to understand that the way Elise has acted is due to Josh and his lack of transparency. If Josh had been a transparent person throughout the relationship, you never know. Maybe we would have been in for a different Elise. Maybe we would have been in for somebody that's so much more calm, relaxed, and hasn't got this side of chaoticness. Is that the word, chaoticness? Just to make that up. If it's a real word, then goddamn. Anyway. So, you know, I can understand people's frustration, but I do believe that we have to take into account that her reaction has been to his lies. But at the same time, though, despite the fact that her reaction has been down to his lies, it doesn't mean that it doesn't expose that. At least we know that if you get on the wrong side of her, this is how she's going to behave, which means that she's somebody that is simply a ticking time bomb. And because she portrays that trait of a ticking time bomb, you would think to yourself, actually, yeah, I don't want this person around my family. It's a bit like Josh and Natalie. Obviously, Natalie really wanted to meet Josh's family, really wanted to meet his children, but he was adamant that he didn't want her to meet the family because he was afraid of the way she was going to behave around the family. Now, of course, we all know, or at least we all live by the assumption that Josh was only simply using Natalie, and he was never going to allow her near his kids, even if she was somebody that wasn't so deranged and crazy. But either way, though, that's another similarity, isn't it, regarding Elise stuff in particular and her Josh in this situation. So I fully understand why people would be like, hold on a minute, would I want to introduce her to my son? I don't think so. But at the same time, though, when it comes down to it, it's not the fact that Josh didn't want to introduce Elise to the family. It's just that based on the storyline, he's just not really in contact with the family like that. And also they live like a whole hour and a bit of plane ride away as well. So there were definitely other things, to take into account. But either way, though, I don't. Yeah, so that is my thoughts on it. Let me leave it there before I start to, repeat myself there. But let me know. Do you think if things had been different, Elise would have shown a more reality-ready perception of herself? Or do you think she still would have proven herself to be simply moving mad? Because to be fair, even on Hunt for Love, she had chances to actually prove that she can be reality-ready, but she still decided to go down the route of moving mad at some point down the line, simply because she's always portrayed herself to be a ticking time bomb. And because she's always portrayed herself to be a ticking time bomb, this is where you think to yourself, yeah, I don't think I would want to introduce her to my kids. But let's continue.
Aura and VeerCon I've been like watching. Definitely interesting. I mean, I met all the cast at the tell-all, so some were a little mean to me, to be honest with you. Like, really mean to me. I was like, what is bullied me. I was like, oh my God, like, what is going on?
That's crazy. Could you tease any of the cast members that you might have had some drama with at the tell-all?
You have to wait to find out. There was a few of them for sure.
Okay. Well, speaking of the tell-all, that leads right into my next question, because the tell-alls are the fans' favorite episodes. What can you tell us about the tell-all without giving too much away? I
mean, it's really juicy and like a lot of unexpected turns, like with the couples. Really, really drama filled for sure.
So I guess we've got something to look forward to, hey? It's going to be really, really drama filled, folks. But it's interesting that she does say that there are cast members that did bully her on set. I'm curious, which cast members do you think gave Elise a hard time on set? Please do let me know in the comments section. Obviously regarding the season of Before the 90 Days. If I was to take a wild guess. Interesting. I definitely want to know your thoughts in the comment section. Yeah, please do let me know. But now we're going to move on to the next part of this video in particular. Let's get cracker lacking.
I feel like you're one of my favorites to watch. Would you return for another season of the show?
I 100% would. Like, I love you guys. I love doing this. I love my journey getting unfolded on television. Like, I 100% would. Yes.
Yeah. What is it that you like about being on the show?
That's a great question. I think it really makes me feel like true to who I am, right? Like I get held accountable, and like I always feel like watching myself back, I can either learn from the things like maybe I should probably wear a little more clothing, even though you love it and some people love it, but like maybe I should dress a little more conservative, or maybe I shouldn't have yelled. So not many things in life you're able to watch yourself back and grow from the experiences. And I think because I'm able to watch myself back, I'm like, okay, like it's like therapy for me. Like I could watch myself and improve, Like I noticed. Oh, what scene was? I think it was at the zoo, and I was
I do like that response, and I do respect that response heavily, to be honest with you. I like the fact that she's talking about, being in the show allows her to be accountable. It allows her to watch things back and be like, okay, maybe I should have done this instead. But here's the thing, though, folks. There are many people in life who can come through with an answer like she has, who will say to you, do you know what, if I could, I would go back. Who would say that, yes, I enjoy watching it because it means I can hold myself accountable. It means I can reflect on certain things and do better moving forward. And as much as I enjoy and love that answer, and as much as that answer gives me the vibe that she's showing us that she's now reality ready, the only thing is that this woman is what, 32? She's in her 30s, okay? And all this time, she's been through all of these experiences with all of these men. 5 engagements, let me remind you folks. Why is it that now she's only saying that, oh, now I can actually reflect and be like, you know what, I can see my behavior. So is she somebody that needs to be able to see her behavior on a TV screen? Rather than sitting there saying, okay, cool, so I was engaged once. That didn't work out, no worries. Let me see what I can maybe do better or do differently for the next engagement. Then engage twice. Okay. Maybe I can have a look again and see what's going on here. Engage 3 times. Do we really believe that between 1, 2, and 3 that there was ever a point where she stopped, reflected, and said, what is actually going wrong? Because then she moved on to engagement number 4. And then engagement number 5. So after all of these engagements, are you saying that you was never able to reflect on your behavior and hold yourself accountable for why these things are happening, but you're only able to do it now because you can see it on screen? So do I really believe that just because she can see herself on screen that she really is somebody that is in a position where she can truly now be simply reality ready? Because the pattern doesn't track. The pattern tells me that she's somebody that knows what to say, but doesn't know how to put the action behind what she says. Because also when she was on Hunt for Love, after everything that went down with her and Rob, she then said, okay, well, I've done, this is obviously what went down with Rob. Things got messy. So then she moved on with Carlo. But then even then, when things moved on with Carlo, and Carlo obviously, did what he did because he wasn't the best of characters. Either way, though, she still resorted to lashing out, which is her comfort zone. She couldn't learn then, but guess what? That was on TV, right? But you didn't learn from that because we fast forward now to before the 90 days, and we've seen her pretty much be the same person that she was in Hunt for Love. If not, some people even argue and say that her character now and before the 90 days has been worse than the one in Hunt for Love. And you saw that on screen, didn't you? So are we really here to believe that she's now reality ready to recognize her behavior? She's now reality ready to actually sit there and say, you know what, I was moving mad and I'm going to do better. I'm going to put actions behind everything that I'm saying right here, right now. Do we believe that she's going to do that? Because patterns don't lie. The same way numbers don't lie, right? So please do give me your thoughts on that one. Okay. Now, with that being said, there's also another interview that she did. So obviously the interview that she did there was with Access Hollywood. But then she did another one, okay, pretty much exactly the same interview, if anything, to be fair. But this one was a Reality Gaze podcast. But in this one, there was two things that she said that was slightly different that she didn't say in the previous one. So now we're going to go into, obviously, what she says in this one itself in particular. And obviously, shout out to the people from Reality Gaze podcast for obviously having her on. And obviously, to be fair, the interview is quite fun. I won't lie to you. It's very laughter. I mean, these guys have got a lot of bands. First time seeing them. So, hey, if you want to go check it out after, feel free. You can see the details right now on your screen. You know what I mean? But let's get into the 2 points that I found that was in addition to what she didn't say in the previous one. Let's dive into it.
What the fuck is going on? Like, I literally just flew around the world, got picked up at the airport with your buddy. You're making a cheers to your buddy and not even me. And now you're living with a girl. You didn't, like, why aren't we living with Nat if they're just friends? Like, why are we in a rental?
That's a good point.
Now that is a bloody good question. And I'm annoyed that I didn't even think of that. But at the same time, the reason why I didn't think of that is because she was under the impression that she was flying to Australia to share Airbnb on the premise of the fact that he was living with his parents. So that's why they didn't live with Nat. Although it's a good question, it was already answered. It's because he wasn't transparent with you. Now, of course, if he was transparent with you from the very beginning of who he was living with, then of course I'd imagine that you would have ended up either staying with Josh and Nat, or maybe even Josh would have got Airbnb by himself. Or the one that I think is the most likely to happen, if Josh had told you prior that he was living with a female, you probably would have said, nah, I'm good, F that, I ain't coming to see you, me and you are done. Which, to be fair, would have been completely fine. There would have been nothing wrong with her saying, you know what, I'm not comfortable with you living with someone that's a female. So, and especially given the fact that you're living there rent free, she's doing all of these things for you. What woman in their right mind is going to let you live somewhere rent free just like that? So I would imagine her being like, nah, I'm not going to leave. You know what I mean? So therefore, there would be no storyline, right? So I do understand why the idea of her staying with him and Nat didn't happen, because he lied. So to be fair, it is answered, isn't it? But hey, maybe you guys see something different. Maybe there's something that I missed. Definitely want to know your thoughts on that one itself in particular. But now let's move on to the other thing that I came across here in this interview.
So much. Like, there was an instant connection. I don't know if they aired this. I don't think they did. And Jackie can take this out. But I actually had never even FaceTimed him before going to Australia.
Wow.
Like, at all. So it was just phone calls. Like, I don't like FaceTime. I know I'm on TV, but like, I'm not a big FaceTimer.
Yeah.
I'm not a big video caller. So we had not.
That is crazy. That is unhinged. That is crazy. That is moving mad. Like, what the F? You traveled 30 plus, was it 35, 39, 37, whatever hours from the USA to Australia, down south. And you didn't even see this man's face on a FaceTime? Wow. That is crazy business. Listen, I don't like FaceTime. I don't like video calls for the most part. But if I gotta have one because it makes sense, then I'll have one. Especially if it involves meeting a stranger. Are you crazy? Now, don't get me wrong. Video calls do not guarantee that the stranger you're meeting is going to be a safe person. Because at the end of the day online, people can portray themselves however they want to portray themselves. The only thing that I would say that a video call gives you is that it gives you clarity that this person that you're meeting is exactly who they are in terms of their appearance, you know. Back before, when I used to do the whole dating app malarkey stuff, before I would meet a female, I'd say, hey, can we do a video call first? Because I had to know that you are you. You know, you are you. And don't get me wrong, there was definitely one time, or there was a time, but now prior to having this mentality, there was a time I'd met some, and then there was the one time, this person didn't look like, it wasn't like a total catfish. It was the person, the person was the person. It's just that they'd uploaded a picture or pictures of them, in my humble opinion, probably 10 years ago. But when I saw them, I was like, I know it's you, but this isn't you now though. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, this is moving mad. I can't have this behavior happening. No way, Jose. And from now on, I'm FaceTiming everyone. And if you don't FaceTime me before, we ain't going on no bloody date or whatever the hell that I got planned. You know what I mean? Like, so please. Video calls is so crucial to know that the person you're meeting is the person you're meeting. But at the same time though, you can also video call someone and, you know, it could be that person, but it doesn't mean that it's still safe. You know, that person can still be a wackadoodoo. So either way though, given the fact that she traveled that far, a face call was necessary, because what if she turned up? What if she turned up and it was the friend Chris that was pretending to be Josh, and she ended up meeting a whole different person? Do you know what I mean? Like, come on now. So we got to tread carefully. I mean, look at what happened to Tyree. You know, look what happened to some of the Caesar, some of these other people. You know, talk to these women and they turn up, and these women didn't even turn up. I mean, Tyree was even worse, because that one's a whole catfish. I mean, that was a whole dude in Jamaica pretending to be a woman that was literally down the road to his house. Calamity, yes. So please, video call is definitely essential, to be honest with you, in my humble opinion. Personally, that's how I can make sure that you know, I ain't meeting someone that's moving mad, and also to make sure that I'm not moving mad at the same time. You know what I mean? It's the way that allows me to stay reality ready before meeting someone new. But I don't really have those issues anymore, because I don't do the whole online stuff, you know what I mean? For me, I'm old school now, you know. I truly believe if I'm going to meet someone, I want to meet them in public. If I do end up meeting someone online, it won't be on a dating app. It'll just be something that happened on the socials in some form or way, you know what I mean? That's for sure, but it definitely won't be going on an actual dating website, but that's just my thing. Either way, though, actually, you know what? Let me touch on that a little bit, to be fair. You know, the thing that I found about online dating was that I felt like it was removing my confidence. You know, I'd be out and about somewhere, whether it be the gym or whatever, and I would see a female, and I'd be like, damn, she looks nice. And then I couldn't build up the courage to speak to her. Why? Because I got comfortable with online. Online was convenient and easy. You know, I was like, what's going on here? So I said, nah, screw the online stuff. Nowadays, if I do see someone in person, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and approach, you know, if the setting is right, of course, at the same time, you know what I mean? You know, so it was just a way to regain my confidence again. Yeah, that's just the reality of it. Because let's be real, you know, back in the day, a lot of relationships were more successful because men were more confident to approach women in person. And also, arguably, you could say some women are also confident enough to approach men in person as well. Give or take. But hey, that's just me. Either way, though, let me know your thoughts regarding Elise in these two interviews here. And we can definitely talk about it in the comments section. Do you believe everything that she's saying, that she's now reality ready, or she's somebody that is still simply moving mad? And also shout out to obviously Access Hollywood, as well as also Reality Gaze podcast. Now, with that being said, please do hype the video on your way out. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and comment down below. Have a great day.